Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and recently on the channel, I had a video where Perch and I discussed how a lot of the decisions and the changes that DC Comics had implemented during the pandemic shutdown, in our opinion, it seemed what had been quite there had been quite a good bit of foresight in it, and they seem to have been pretty much right on the money. But that was not across the board. A lot of the retailers I work personally on the channel. They've had very good experiences with UCS or Lunar, whoever they're working with. We have noticed the feedback regarding Lunar is more positive than UCS. There seems to be some issues over there, but that certainly wasn't across the board. There are a lot of retailers that are having issues coming out of this, and with DC kind of stepping away from Diamond, no longer working with them, and moving over to these two new distributors. And one of those comic shops is DotCom Comics and Collectibles in Maine. And with me to talk about that is the manager, Dan Bailey. How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here. So, what was the shutdown like for you just when it happened? Was Maine completely shut down? Were you able to do curbside? Were you able to do delivery? What was it like?
So it was a mixed bag. We were shut down, and they kind of let retailers kind of have their own free flow with things. Given the unique situation my store was in, because Diamond wasn't shipping, they didn't require me to be there. So I had my bosses, my higher ups, lay me off. So for 2 months, I wasn't in the store. And during that 2-month period, the Diamond DC split occurred. And even though I wasn't supposed to, I did work. I reached out to Diamond several times and had conversations with my rep, shot emails into the void asking about what was going on with DC in that 3 shipment window with the 16 books. And I was assured by Diamond via email that everything was fine. Not to worry. Don't worry about it. Not right now. You don't got to worry about anything. You're the 3 weeks that you ordered, or the one big shipment that they broke into 3 weeks. When everything goes back, you'll get your books. So being home, I was like, all right, well, everything should be fine. I wasn't really getting much information. It was all actually through Bleeding Cool. It was really weird. I was getting all my information from Bleeding Cool instead of Diamond. And then when I got brought back on, the whole the talk of Luna and UCS happening, I was greeted with the fact that I wasn't getting a shipment. So I was missing like 3 weeks worth. Well, 1 big week
because they canceled all the orders, right? You had to go and order again.
Yeah, even though I had been assured by Diamond via faceless services at diamond.com, my order was fine. I had the email when I called Diamond to complain. I had the email in hand saying, hey, over the shutdown, I talked to you guys, talked to my rep, talked to service at Diamond. Everything was all right. What the heck's going on? And I just got, oh, sorry. So we scrambled. We had to set something up. I knew Luna was West Coast. UCS was East Coast. I got everything set up. They were really quick. It was like within 24 hours, they set our account up. The problem was,
that went well.
The problem was they refused to accept our retail certificate license to start. So I'd submitted our first order. They wouldn't look at it because that was missing. So we had to go through hoops for a couple days because it was Friday they accepted us. Monday, everything was going. I went in to see why things weren't being processed, found that out. I think it was by Wednesday we got that sorted out. They didn't give us our discount. And so I called again. I'm like, why don't we have a discount? DC, we can't find you with DC. I was like, all right, I don't know what more I can give you other than I can send you my Diamond invoice, and you can see what our discount is on our Diamond invoice. So they accepted that. I sent that over. Within an hour or two, I had the Diamond discount again, the DC discount. Mm-hmm. So I was expecting, hey, the comics I was missing, they're all there. They should be shipped out. I should probably get them Friday. Hopefully, knock on wood. I don't know how the shipping was going to work. The following Monday came and went, and I went to look on their website, and I just had an order sitting there. So I called up again. I was like, hey, I got an order sitting there. Like, what's the problem? And the person on the other line was like, hey, maybe you selected ship with next order. And I'm like, well, that's possible. Like, your ordering thing is kind of, I'm new to it, so maybe I messed that up. That's fine. Could you just ship it? And the guy on the other line was like, no, I can't ship your order. Like, why can't you? Well, I need your order confirmation code. And it's in the email we sent you. I'm like, well, I didn't get an email. I'll go and talk to my boss. And, I had to go talk to him. He went through his email, no email. So it was like another day or two. Finally, my boss, and again, this is like, there's supposed to be a barrier. I'm supposed to be taking care of everything. He doesn't want to do any of that. He's got their own other thing that they're doing. He made a call, and it was like 15 minutes of him like yelling on the phone to get them to release the order.
Mm-hmm.
And finally it shipped. But half of it was back ordered because of the time it took to send us the order. And by then,
with the new services, DC, like, you have a hard time with back orders because DC is like only printing per order. So there's like, if you don't have enough of Batman 95, which is a hot comic, like, you're not getting more if you didn't order more, right?
And that was the thing. Like, I had done the FOCs because they don't do monthly orders like Diamond was. It was all like, you got to go in every week, and they got a list of like a month of stuff that you do weekly, or you could do it like I did all of July's in a block, and submitted it. But the first 2 weeks of July, our orders were all back ordered. And I was like, why are I had met the dates. I was like, why are our orders back ordered? And I was told, unfortunately, because of the influx in stores signing up, they just didn't have enough books. They just couldn't fill the orders. And DC at some point would remedy that, maybe. So, I had to tell customers, unfortunately, for 2 weeks, I won't have books.
So from your perspective, is that a UCS issue or is that a DC issue? It almost feels like DC, it didn't anticipate the order. Or maybe there's communications between UCS and DC on the actual orders that are coming in, and to be able to kind of forecast exactly how much they're going to need.
I think really it was kind of a both. Like, the communication, I think it's communication all around. As I mentioned before, DC communicating with Diamond, Diamond communicating with the customers communicating with Diamond, DC communicating with UCS communicating with customers communicating, or for us, retailers communicating with UCS. I think there's just right now, I think it boiled down to like, this was very rushed.
Mm-hmm.
And at least, I hear a lot of good stuff about Luna. And I think because Luna was originally, or is still, I don't remember what they're called now.
DCBS.
Yeah, DCBS. I think they had that infrastructure pre-built to have that customer. Was just really an upscaling for them. And, not to knock UCS. Midtown. Yeah, Midtown. They're Midtown. But I think this was just much larger than what Midtown was probably used to having to deal with. And
so I work, I talked to two retailers that work with UCS that have been on the channel, and their experiences actually were pretty good. They said they received their comic shipments like the Thursday prior to New Comic Book Day, and they're like, it's wonderful. I got 5 days, to work and get ready, and everything's prepared to go out. I know what's hot and what's not. But it sounds like you seem to have fallen through the cracks or something.
Yeah, I did like the last 2 shipments, because I did end up getting, like, I got the 14th. The shipment of the 14th was my first almost full shipment. I think I was missing Action Comics. That was back ordered. And I did start receiving some of the older stuff. I'm still missing things, but I did get the shipment on the 14th and for the 14th and the shipment for this upcoming Monday. I got those on Thursday. The shipping quality, with the exception of maybe some tape on the corners of the outside boxes, mirrors Diamond's. In fact, actually, my order for this week, I actually took some pictures. I can send you if you want to see them.
Absolutely.
The corner is crushed in, and I have probably about a dozen books that are damaged in the corner. They've got the same, basically it's the same dual row boxes with a piece of cardboard in the center and a bunch of, paper on the top, and maybe another piece of cardboard on the top separating larger books. Like this upcoming week, there's the Black Series book that they, tossed on the top.
Because it's bigger.
So, yeah. So I mean, like the shipping or the packaging is not really at all different from Diamond's.
So you're not seeing an increase in quality regarding the shipping and delivery?
No.
Like condition?
I think, like you said, I think the bonus we're getting for that is it comes in early. Like I can dig through it, find any damages or shortages sooner rather than later, and submit it through email instead of, actually they were both email. So I guess it's I don't have a rep with UCS either. I at least have or had, I don't know, Diamond. We don't know what's going on with
it sounds awful with Diamond. People are talking about it. I had a rep for 4 years. Now I've got this generic email, and I found out my rep is still there, but they don't want to talk to me now.
Yeah, and I've talked to my rep on and off throughout this, but it's very hit or miss if I get any return. Most of the time, I call it. I just send an email to the void, service at Diamond plus whatever at, or whoever at diamond.com, whatever my rep's email address is, or started their email addresses, and it goes into the void. Something may occur to it, like I had a book, an independent book, Ash and Thorn, that I missed for a customer, and I must have reordered that thing like 3-4 weeks ago, along with a bunch of restock graphic novels, and I just randomly got a box in the other day, just on and off day, with Diamond graphic novels and a comic. I'm like, what is this?
So another thing I've heard about Diamond now is after they've returned from the shutdown, is they're no longer putting all the books in one box. They're making much smaller deliveries, and it's adding shipping costs. Have you noticed that? It's through your store? So
our orders have been considerably cut down. So I usually get just a box a week anyways right now, unless I get extra stuff like supplies, or I order a bunch of graphic novels for restock. Then that'll change over the next few months if as things continue to, hopefully in Maine anyways, we're not, our numbers are down on the virus. So as things progress forward, our orders will increase, and we'll probably get back up to full speed probably by September. But right now,
that kind of coincides with Marvel kind of bringing themselves back online. They're still pretty limited.
Yeah, they're very schedule. Small. Yeah. That was the big thing. Like Marvel had so many books before this, and now it's just like, it's tiny, very tiny compared to what Marvel was before.
So kind of what are your overall thoughts? Did you think like bringing in competition for distribution for Diamond was a good idea? Now I'll admit I wasn't really in favor of DC's decision to just leave Diamond completely. I thought having opportunities for retailers to choose. If you're on the East Coast, you go UCS or Diamond. If you're on the West Coast, you could go Lunar or Diamond. In the Midwest, it sounds like you could choose either one or Diamond. But when they kind of took out Diamond, it kind of took out the choice, especially if you're on one of the coasts where you can actually decide which service is better for you.
And I think that's the thing. Like right now, when this all started, there was that whole cry of the monopolies going away. And unfortunately, like you mentioned, unless you're in like the central US, it's still a monopoly. I could still only go. I mean, I guess I could make a Lunar account, but I mean, the shipping is just going to annihilate me.
The shipping cost, yeah.
And I think the big thing is I felt it was way too quick. I think they could have eliminated a lot of problems and maybe like rolled this out a little slower. And if there was an issue with Diamond, like I don't pretend to know what was going on between DC and Diamond or whatever. But I mean, they're still using Diamond in the UK right now. So I mean, obviously there's, can't be that bad of blood. But I think a slower rollout and a little bit more communication on both Diamond and DC's part with the retailers probably would have helped a little more. I think that's just my opinion. I'm not sure. I know, like, I've had good or bad conversations and comments with people, both retailers and customers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of high emotions right now. You go to the comments on your YouTube channel, or my YouTube channel, there's a lot of people super upset. There's a lot of people that are happy, and everyone's got a different opinion on it. But are you at least hopeful that maybe it sounds like the service is improving, withstanding the packaging, which you say is basically mirrors Diamond. Are you hopeful that it is going to keep improving, and then you're going to get your shortages back, and then hopefully it'll be smooth sailing after that? Or do you think you're just going to have the same issues that you were having with Diamond before?
I think as things progress, it'll even it or iron itself out. I mean, like, hopefully it's got to get better rather than getting worse. I think it's really just them setting their infrastructure up and getting, their relationship as a distributor with Diamond ironed out, as well as their relationship with retailers, because now they got to deal with retailers more than I guess they probably had to deal with them before.
So, just to kind of thinking about some of these back issues or the reorders that you didn't have, like, did you go on to Midtown? Were they offering those comic books on their website that you were kind of waiting for?
I did not, because I read an article where they had mentioned that they were going to start using their own inventory to sell to retailers. And I didn't want to sour myself by going onto their website and being like, oh, well, I'm missing, Catwoman 23, which is now like a super hot book, I think. Is it 23 or?
Yes.
And
it's the introduction of the new character.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't have that, but hey, they got it. I could order it from them and save like 50 cents instead of, our discount to get it to some customers.
Because that would piss me off.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No,
a lot of people, kind of objected to, Midtown is a competitor, DCBS are competitors. Technically, but they've already been doing reorder services before. But it would absolutely infuriate me if I was in your shoes and I was waiting for Catwoman 23. I hadn't received it, but if I went on to Midtown's website and they were selling it, like, you obviously had the book. You just don't have it for me.
Well, and that's it. And I mean, you'll hear that a lot is like, what if they found out it was a hot book and suddenly it's like, well, no, we don't got any reorders. We need those. Cause I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's good money later on.
Especially everything that's going on with Batman. We got all these new characters coming in. Punchline obviously came out. The designer, we got Clown Hunter. We got, I can't remember the name of the character, but Bruce's best friend, Ghost something, that's coming in. Those are all going to be really hot comic books.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like making sure you get those in the hands of your customers. That again.
Well, it is a weird spot for Midtown UCS to be in, because as a distributor, their customer are you, the shops, but also as an online retailer, the customer is somebody like me that doesn't have access to the book, their local community, and they want to go online and shop for it. So I can see how there can definitely be some competing interests. I always thought the idea that they were going to like get a hold of like the store trends in your customer base and kind of understand what they're doing and use that against the retailers was a bit of a stretch. But this idea that they could hold back key issues for reorder and sell them online as a conflict of interest, it seems like it.
Well, and my biggest worry is that especially like a company like UCS, like they already like cut the bottom out on a lot of books anyways. But imagine if their margin suddenly shrank even more. Like suddenly now they got more wiggle room. So now it's like, oh, we were already selling DC books at like 50% off. Now we can do 70% off. Mm-hmm. It's like no way you can compete with that as a retailer. There's nothing you could do to compete against them.
Absolutely. As a retailer, with DCBS out there and my comic shop, which you can get a discount from, Midtown Comics, like it's all about customer service and that thing that a comic shop provides that you'll never be able to get it online. Like obviously I use Amazon. I'm overseas and I've ordered graphic novels and stuff like that, and they'll recommend graphic novels for me, but they don't know why I ordered the stuff I ordered before. They think it's just because of the writer or the character, but there's a lot more to it. So you'll never be able to get that service where someone like yourself or Pele or Perch, who have talked to the customer themselves and know exactly what you're looking for, and can actually recommend good books. But what's that worth to the consumer is really, I think it's invaluable, but hope everyone else does as well.
Right now in the current climate too, like online sales are taking a huge swing up. We even, it was kind of funny being .com Comics not having an online web presence other than a website compared to our parent company, Sell My Comics, having like a monstrous eBay store and their own web store. When we came back, we launched it and it just was lukewarm. And over the last week, it's like our website's exploded. So it's just kind of weird, like seeing that, like you saw over the at least, our news articles I read over the pandemic, Amazon sales spiking, Walmart's online sales spiking, all these online sales spiking.
Best Buy is like having the best quarters they've had in like years.
And that's funny to hear from Best Buy, considering all the ones up here are pretty much, with the exception of one, are closing.
It was all online retail.
And that's it. That's age of the internet.
So I don't know, Dan. So how, like you said, you're more hopeful that things are going to smooth out. I personally still think competition is better for the industry, but I wish that DC hadn't left Diamond completely. I wish there would have been an opportunity for people to make a choice between DC, the company that they've known, and worked with in the past, and some of these new services. That way they would have to distinguish themselves and kind of earn your patronage,
Well, and that's it. I think the biggest thing is for them, I think maybe, was it you or the other gentleman in your other podcast may have touched on it. Like, had they stayed with Diamond, how many people would have left Diamond to go to UCS or Luna? And like, there's a lot of people, like us included, we even talked about it. It's like, well, Diamond may damage some books here and there, but everything's under one roof. Like the ability to just do my monthly orders all in one versus having to keep track of, now at this point, UCS doing weekly FOCs to get everything going, and not having the visibility. Like, I can't see as far forward as I can on Diamond with UCS right now. So it's, I think maybe you would have had a lot of stragglers or people that have just been like, well, I'll stick with the status quo rather than jumping over to the new ones.
Some risk-averse comic shops while they wait to see how everyone else's service is.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, like I said, we would have probably stayed with Diamond at a just sheer ease. But, again, I don't know what DC and Diamond may have had going on, or DC and AT&T, which is their parent company now, right? I think AT&T now owns, So who knows what was going on there? I like to think maybe AT&T was breathing down DC's back a little bit to get money coming in.
Well, I imagine that just the amount of revenues comic books come in, like, is a drop in the bucket at AT&T. If you just look at the amount of revenue Warner Brothers brings in, the parent company of DC, it's like 11% of AT&T's total revenue, because there's this a massive communications company rather than a media company. So I don't know if they needed. I don't think they would have needed money for DC, but I do think they would have said, "Why aren't you shipping comics? We're shipping everything else right now. Things are actually pretty hot. If you're selling online." And I think probably Jim Lee and the leadership of DC were like, we knew Diamond was a single point of failure. It's time to address it, because something like this happens again. You just can't shut down an entire industry.
Well, yeah, and that's with everything in the U.S. right now going crazy. Like I said, in New England, we're pretty safe, but like Texas and Florida and California numbers are just climbing. The whole looming idea that maybe there's another shutdown coming. Like, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
A lot of uncertainty.
So.
All right, Dan. Well, I do appreciate you coming on here and kind of explaining your side of the story and how the transition over to UCS hasn't been so smooth for you as a comic store manager, and how you wish things had gone a little bit smoother. Is there anything else that you absolutely needed to get out before we kind of wrap this up?
No, I like I said, I just, not to complain, like whine about it. It's just, I think maybe at least with UCS, it was their infrastructure and just, they weren't expecting the amount of traffic they were going to get maybe.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what a lot of the issues are. Well, Dan, I really do appreciate the time, man.
No problem, Wes. I appreciate you having me on.